the sores on the body. The sores that no one cares about. The sores that nobody would love to lick are licked by the dogs. Dogs. The story is told by Jesus to us this morning of a rich man who has no name and a poor man, Lazarus, is his name. The rich man did not harm him. The rich man did not chase him away. He did not even complain of the smell of his sores. The rich man was going to and through. He was eating, feasting, celebrating, enjoying at his own table, caring about himself. But his eyes were closed to see the sores in the body. His eyes were incapable to see these souls that were taken care by dogs. Indifference, insensitivity. We become insensible to the pains, to the suffering, to the poverty, to the misery of others. And being insensitive, being indifferent, this was the greatest sin of the rich man. He did not utter words, a bad word, but yet he was condemned because he did not allow his heart to reach out to this member of the body of Christ, whose body was filled with sores. When we neglect to see these sores in the body of Christ, we are equally complacent and accountable and even guilty of sin. That is called the sin of omission. It is a sin of omission. Who is the rich man? It is me, it is you. That's why his name is not mentioned. In other words, when we become self-centered, whether within our families, whether within our community, whether within our nation, whether as an individual, we are guilty of the sin of indifference. Christ's body is filled with souls. And there are so many Lazarus at the door of our hearts. And our heart does not dare to be moved. So much that we are focused on ourselves. Maybe the rich man was praying. Maybe he used to come out and go to Mass. Maybe the rich man was going for confession. And maybe the rich man was doing all the spiritual exercises. But his eyes were not open to see the souls in the body of Lazarus. One of the aspects of Lent is compassion. And the word compassion comes from the Latin word, which is compatire, which means to suffer with. To suffer with. To be able to suffer with somebody. To share the pains. Yesterday we saw the sharing of the cup. And today we are invited to open our eyes and to open our hearts to see just near, around us, next to us, the Lazarus in need of our help. Maybe just in need of our words. Maybe just a greeting. Maybe just by wrapping the shoulder of one another is needed at a certain point of time. The rich man is therefore the first category of people spoken about in the book of Jeremiah and in the psalm that we read today. The man who just trusts in himself. The man who put his trust in his wealth. The one who put his trust in the amount of money that he has in the account. The man who put his trust in material things. Such a man, says Jeremiah, is a curse. He said, curse is the man who trusts in man and makes flesh his arm. But blessed is the Lazarus, not because of the poverty, because Lazarus is not going to heaven because he's poor, because God does not actually encourage poverty, not at all, except the poverty in hearts, which means dependence in God, total surrender. The Lazarus is therefore the man who put his trust in God with whatever and in whatever he has and that he is. May the Lord help us during this time of Lent. We are heading towards half of this season. Let's open our hearts. Let's open our eyes. And let's put our trust in the Lord. For this is the man who follows not the counsel of the wicked, nor stand in the paths with sinners, nor abide in the company of scorners, but whose delight is the law of the Lord, and who ponders his law day and night. This is what is going to happen. He is like a tree that is planted beside the flowing waters, that yields its fruit in due season, and whose leaves shall never fade, and all he does shall prosper. But not so is the wicked. Not so, for they, like winnowed chaff, shall be driven away by the wind. For the Lord knows the way of the just, but the way of the wicked